welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. My name's Sarah Arciniega, and I'm a close to my heart maker. And today in this video, I will be making a 2-page spread. But before I do that, I just want to mention that it is time for a transition. The Close to My Heart catalog, just so you know, um, they come out with a new one about every 2 months. And so this last catalog cycle was a November-December catalog. And with December coming to a close, these products will only be available until the supplies are gone. And so it's now time to get whatever you could want. Get your hands on it now because there's new product coming. This will be live on January 1st. And I'm not going to do a full catalog walkthrough right now, but I do want to show you the page where the stamp that I'm using on my layout comes from. This is brand new, like I said. It will be available January 1st, and it features winter animals. And I love the artwork. I love the cards they've made. And I looked at it though and thought, oh my goodness, this would pair so well with Evergreen, which Evergreen is from the November-December catalog. But I just knew that they would look great together, and actually not for a winter layout, but for another hiking layout. A few videos ago, I did a hiking layout with the Evergreen collection. Today I'm going to do another one, but you put these animals in it, and I love the combo. I do have to turn the polar bear into a brown bear just because of where we're hiking. I'm sure there are some structural differences between the two, but my brown bear turned out pretty cute, I think. So I've gotten started here. I took French vanilla and cut it down on 3 sides, and I gutted out the green paper that will be underneath just to save on paper. My starting off point today comes from the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6. And this pattern is just where I'm going to kind of get my initial idea from, and then I'm going to adjust it and make it my own. And so the pictures here, they're all very uniform. And my pictures, I had some, tall 4x6s. And so I just had to adjust the pictures to make it work. But don't be afraid to do that. That's always an option when you use a pattern. So I've selected various papers from the Evergreen collection, and I repeated the top and the bottom there. But I did notice very quickly that the 2 papers that are just the solid color, they look a little bland, and I don't really love the way it's looking. And so I'm going to go ahead and go through my stamp sets and try to come up with a solution for that. Before I do that, though, I'm going to lay out my pictures just to kind of get an idea of where I want to put everything. These pictures come from some hikes that we went on a vacation a few years ago. My newly 2-year-old, she just hiked along with her big brothers and sisters, and she was a trooper. She worked really hard, and it was amazing how much she wanted to keep up with those big brothers and sisters and her sister and the cousins. So I'm going to bring in the Evergreen card making stamp. There are some great trees there. I actually stamped it on just some scratch paper and cut it out just so I could kind of visually see what this was going to look like before I committed to it. And so I got that stamped on there. And then, like I said, that plain paper that, in the strips going along the side, I knew I needed to do something to it. So that's when I pulled out my Design Elements stamp. The stamp has just a bunch of really cool backgrounds and filler type stamps. This particular one is like a crackle finish, and it is wonderful. It's so forgiving. Like if you miss a spot, you can just go in, and it's okay if it overlaps a little. And so I just love the texture that this provided without making it busier, because I don't think the column needed any busier paper. It just needed something, and so this provides some texture without it being too busy. So then I pull out my pine ink. I'm going to go ahead and take the pine ink, and anything that's green, I go ahead and distress the sides. And then I do the same thing with espresso. I would have ideally used mocha, but I don't have mocha ink yet. So here, I wanted to do something to the sage paper as well. And so I decided to actually use that same stamp that I used on the bottom left and do a little row of trees. And I like the way it turned out as well. So on the second strip that goes on the right page, I actually need to do a double stamp. which is fine. It works out really well. One thing I did find in working with this particular stamp is that I needed to apply some more pressure in the middle and not just, grip the stamp block and push, but like I needed to put some direct pressure in the middle. It could have just been the way I put it on the block, but I did find, like I said, that it worked much better when I did that. So I decided to go ahead and do my mats in Mocha. And so I have that all done. And I've also printed out my journaling there. And I decided I wanted some trees to come out of my journaling. And this is where I did a big, oops, you're going to see it here in a few seconds. And that was really discouraging just because it was right on my layout, but no big deal. We're paper scrappers, we can figure this out. And so what I actually ended up doing was I ended up just popping everything off and starting with a fresh piece. And it worked, and I like this much better than the way it looked before. Okay, so now that that is all finished, it's time to bring in the cute creatures. And so I have a bear and a deer, and then I have a moose and a fox that I still need to color. And so I'm trying to decide where exactly to put that, if I want to do some more trees on the right, trying to pay attention to the visual triangle a little bit. And so I decided to go ahead and do some more trees there on the right, adding the moose there to that little scene, and then putting the fox up there in the corner nestled in between those pictures. So at this point I decided it needs something besides the trees and the animals, and so I pulled out a new stamp set. And right here I didn't do a very good job of getting this in the frame, but I basically dovetailed little banners, made these banners after I stamped the sentiments on them. And so this one says, "Say yes to new adventures." I really like it there at the bottom. However, I don't like it next to the paper that's the same color. So I go ahead and change that to sage, and then I stamp another one that says "Living the Good Life." I like these little banners for a few different reasons. I like that it brought some text over on the right page. My story, just because I have lots to say all the time, is very text heavy. And so by adding just these little, sentiments, it adds some text to the right. I know it's not the same volume, nor would I want it to be, but I love that it's just just the right amount. I also love that it brings more of the same color of papers over there. And so this stamp set, though, I foresee myself using it a ton. It's called Remember This Moment, and it has just all sorts of great sentiments that will be perfect for so many different pages. So as I looked at the layout, I thought the white space just needs a little something. So why not splatter it with some shimmer brush? And so that's what I do. And as I finished the page doing that, I thought I would read part of my journaling. I wrote, "You were such a trooper. We did a lot of hiking during our Utah trip in 2022. You had just turned 2 and were carried at times, but you walked a lot of the trails. Dad and I were impressed with your endurance. We hiked Dolly Canyon in Park City. You stopped to pick up rocks and sticks. You were absolutely thrilled by crossing the little stream, jumping from rock to rock. When asked what your favorite thing was about Dolly Canyon hike, you replied, flowers. A few days later, we drove up to Mirror Lake and hiked the loop around the lake. The water was so clear that we watched the fish dart around in the shallow parts of the lake. You loved all the spots where the melted snow was running off into the lake. You picked up rocks and pine cones and threw them into the little streams. You also picked up some wildflowers and smelled them. In one spot, there was quite a bit of snow. We made some snowballs, and you got to hold a snowball, a big deal for a little Texan. As your mom, I loved walking hand in hand with you up the trails, pointing out the chipmunks and the flowers as we marched along. Nature does good things for my soul, and I get such satisfaction when my kids connect with it as well." So I hope you've enjoyed this layout. As a public service announcement, I just wanted to let you know that the Boxing Week sale is happening. And here's just a quick scroll through of today's deals. And this is just for today. Every day has a different set of items that are on sale. And so there's 3 days left of the sale. Like I said, though, the items do change every day. Here's just a sample of what I picked up a few days ago. Of course, this is not on sale today, but I just thought I would share my excitement of what a great sale it was. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for joining me. Have a great one.